Hi, I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking time to watch my videos. In this video, I'm continuing my ongoing discussion into national security affairs, and specifically what I'm doing is I'm expanding and extending the section on the strategies necessary for the development of national homeland security, and the first half of this multi-part series was devoted to sort of the intelligence architecture of the United States of America. Now I think it's important to get into strategy and the way that the strategy is going to unfold. And again, as I've done, is I've gone through the text, I've gone through the .gov pages. Martin Alpern's book, Foundations of Homeland Security, have helped immensely to guide me through this process. So today, the emphasis of this discourse is going to be on ideology. Specifically, I wrote my dissertation work on ideology. I spent probably about maybe 6 years of my life, but at least 3 years of deep, intense research into this concept of ideology. And my dissertation, again, was on the idea of ideology. So I'm bringing all the big guns to this lecture today because this is where I'm vested. I'm vested in this discourse. I think with respect to the strategic approach that the United States should take, it has to be buttressed not just in brawn but in brains. It's a combination of both, right? It's brains and brawn. It's not all brawn, it's not all brains, it's brains and brawn. This part, the brains part, is where, I think that I can make a contribution to the discourse. It's a bit, just one quick side note, and then I'll jump into the lecture. It's a bit weird being a public intellectual, putting out information into the internet, cyberspace, as I do, and as frequently and as much as I do is fine. When we get to subjects like national security affairs, it feels a little weird giving lectures like this because I'm talking about events that are taking place within the United States of America currently. And I don't know who's watching my videos. I doubt anybody of any significance is watching my videos because I'm not a very popular YouTube channel, nor am I trying to be a popular YouTube channel. But I don't know if intelligence people from the intelligence world are watching my videos. I don't know if people who have affiliations with terrorist organizations are watching my videos. I don't know. I do give an objective stance, right? I do try and present the information as best as I can. And for me, it's a little weird in prepping, especially for today's lecture. I was like, should I go all the way in the lecture? Should I really give a deep analysis? I don't know who's watching my videos. I don't know who, whatever. So it's not easy to be, and in all seriousness, it's not easy for me to give a lecture like this for the simple fact that who knows who's watching my videos. I try and be as thorough as possible, but I have a unique ability to analyze and information and see sort of hidden nuances and things. And I hope it's for the greater good. Now, I don't know. The bad guys might say the greater good is X, and the good guys might say that the greater good is Y. I'm not here to play referee. I think what's most important is doing my role, and we'll see. Anyway, all of that aside, again, you can tell I never really preface. I usually don't preface my lectures per se, but I tried to get pretty substantial in this lecture. So hopefully I'll be successful in that. Okay, so this is National Homeland Security. And this is section 4.2. And this is it's titled, it's on page 28, Strategic Ideological Approaches to Fighting Terrorism. Strategic, remember, this is the segment of the lecture series is divided into two huge parts. First part, intelligence and all the stuff that goes along with it. Second part, strategy. That's sort of the way that all of these videos have been divided. With respect to strategy, I've talked about a lot of different types of strategy and strategic approaches. Today, specifically, I'm going to be talking about strategic ideological approach, right? And I've put it in parentheses just so that it's clear what I'm going to be talking about. We're talking about battle, we're talking about war, but a war without bullets. Remember, two parts to fighting this battle. One half of the fight is brains, one half of the fight is brawn. You need both brains and brawn in order to win. So this is a battle without bullets. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do is read this quotation that I was able to get from the White House archives. Quote, "It is the policy of the United States to seek and support democratic movements and institutions in every nation and culture, with the ultimate goal of ending tyranny in our world. Our government, the United States government, has the mission, the vision of ending tyranny, and it is willing to seek and promote democratic movements throughout the world. The goal of our statecraft is to help create a world of democratic, well-governed states that can meet the needs of their citizenry, of their citizens, and conduct themselves responsibly in the international system." So pretty general, what you would expect, right? Basically, what's important: need the needs of the citizens, promote democracy throughout the world, and most specifically, end tyranny. And we, in a little bit, will talk about sort of the role in tyranny. But the question is, well, what does this really mean? What does this idea of spreading and promoting democracy, more so promoting democracy, how does this play into the overall strategic approach in national and homeland security affairs? There's an actual theory that is used to make sense of, give meaning to, give significance to this idea of promoting democracy globally. And it's known as democratic peace theory. I'm not going to talk about democratic peace theory at all in this video because I've already talked about democratic peace theory in my analysis of international war, I think 81, yeah, in my international war and terrorism video. So what I've done is I've provided a link, democratic peace theory. Just click that link. It'll take you to another PDF, the PDF for my videos on democratic peace theory within the International War and Terrorism series. Page 9 and 10 of 26 is where I've discussed it. So you can actually watch, it's like one of the first, it might be within the first few videos of that segment. If you want to know more about democratic peace theory, I've already done videos on it. I already have lecture notes printed so that you can sort of use that resource to help you understand this resource. I've already discussed democratic peace theory. The 2-second gist of democratic peace theory is democratic nations don't fight with each other. Democratic nations go about other means of resolving their conflict, of de-escalating their conflict, than resorting to bullets, right? So there is a sense in which if you are vested in the notion of democracy, you go about resolving, de-escalating conflict. I'm a conflict revolutionist. That's what I teach at the university level, specifically international conflict resolution. And within that scope of international conflict resolution, the most effective way to go about de-escalating international conflict between warring nations or potentially warring nations is if those warring nations are both democracies, right? They will find alternative means of resolving their dispute. As a matter of fact, I have one more book left. The book that I'm waiting to be published now, I co-authored with my wife. She's the best. So my wife and I actually talked about globalization, this 21st century account of how we make sense of education and the education of adults in the 21st century. And we talked significantly, there's a few chapters where we talk about this idea of the stabilization of the state or the destabilization of the state, the collapse of the state, because of an inability for individuals to recognize the role of democracy. And by democracy, and I'm not going to get into it too much, but by democracy, I don't mean sort of this American-style democracy, right? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to jump, head first in, and have it be a liberal democracy where everybody has total freedom of speech and there's total freedom of religion.